Islam Moors, I'm just kind of waiting for some people to get online real quick. It's just an announcement as to the tribunal event for tomorrow at the Media Courthouse. That's located at 201 West Front Street, near the Corporate District of Media, Pennsylvania. It's being held on the second floor at 2 o'clock. I mean, not 2 o'clock, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. 8 a.m. It's 8 a.m. on the second floor. The so-called administrator acting as a judge is not assigned. They have not assigned anybody. Ann Baradoko has waived this case, probably because she was leaned for not dismissing it because she has no jurisdiction over me or my consort, Decorey Christopher Pitts L., who's still being unlawfully detained at George W. Hill Correctional Facility. So he's in that location, has also been leaned as well. So she's waived the case, and per the system, the nom de guerres, which they're holding me unlawfully under false identity because that is not who I am. I am Sharon Tracey Gale Bey, and my consort, Decorey Christopher Pitts L., both Moorish American sovereign nationals at Morocco, which is where we are on the northwest Amexem continent. The United States is not a country and is not a government. It is a corporation that is acting in a capacity because everyone acquiesces their sovereignty through ignorance and incompetence. Now, the so-called unlawful individual who's acting in the capacity of assistant district attorney, Heather Francis Hayes, your lien is getting processed today, and I will be there to deliver it to you, hand deliver it to you tomorrow, where me and my consort will make a special appearance to clear up this unlawful tribunal event that I command to be dismissed. I command to be set free and released from these corporate bonds, these corporate nom de guerres, because I am a sovereign of Morocco, and you have no authority or jurisdiction, personam, territorial, or subject matter. And I command you release not only myself, but Nora, as well as Decorey. They are all being detained unlawfully in these tribunals, and I am commanding you as the Vizier Mohammedan judge of the actual government, the Moorish National Republic federal government. I command you release all Moorish American nationals from those POW, prisoners of war camps. We are the peaceful inhabitants, the sovereigns of the land, and we are the people, we are the voice. No other people speak for us, and no other people determines our descent nature but self. Me included. Islam. So Heather Francis Hayes, acting in a capacity that she's been outlawed and commanded all so-called bar attorneys operating at Morocco to cease and desist all actions because they don't have authority. They don't have any type of jurisdiction here at Morocco. That tribunal event, like I said, is tomorrow, 8 a.m., located 201 West North Street, care of mailing location, 201 West Front Street, Media, Pennsylvania Corporate District. I put all of this information in the description section, so please print that out, send that around. Let's show them who are the sovereigns of the land. Let's show them who makes the laws, who makes the commands and the rules. And it's all based on love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, as well as on the supreme laws of the land, the Declaration of Independence, the Articles of Confederation, the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, and the Constitution for the United States of America. Now, I actually went and acquired the oaths of offices for Ann Baradoko, doing business as administrator of the district court corporation under the Delaware County Corporate District, as well as Harry J. Karapalides. Both of them specifically say they take oaths to the Constitution of the United States of America. Let me tell you the difference. One is de jure, one is corporate. Because it makes that distinction, which is etymologically making that distinction, guarantees you and tells you emphatically they don't have jurisdiction because they took oaths to a corporate venue that styled itself unlawfully, which is why we leaned them as the de jure government, which are the sovereigns of the land, which is you and me, Moorish American nationals. No one else has sovereignty here. There is no such thing as a sovereign citizen, and don't let them play these games on words in this propaganda on these social platforms to get you to stop acting in your lawful, noble capacity. You are sovereigns as Moorish American nationals, and because you are sovereign, no one, I mean no one, has prior claim authority on the land but you. So when you send an affidavit, that affidavit stands as law because nobody can refute it, because they're all corporate wards and they do not exist. So if they're claiming to be a fiduciary, and you give them that authority over you through an actual word verbiage, they are required to do what you specifically tell them to do. You tell them to discharge, they discharge. You tell them to set you free, they set you free. You command, you don't tell, you command they do their duties, because they have bound themselves to the supreme laws of the land, and they have bound themselves to that so-called corporate Constitution, which is the Constitution of the United States of America, corporation, which doesn't exist because we've leaned them. Because of what? Why can we lean them, and why are they mad that we're leaning and titling property? Because as the sovereign, only you can do it, and nobody can refute. Nobody can refute your authority as the sovereigns of the land. So get used to saying that. Don't be in fear of saying that. That is absolutely positively who you are. And don't let any man, especially a man, woman, or child who don't even know who they are and have absolutely positively no rights here, to have a lawful standing in this territory, in this domicile, in this land, which is Northwest of Mexico, Northwest Africa, Turtle Island. These are what are identifications as to this land mass. To say that it's the United States is to say that you are a ward of the state and you are swimming out at sea. None of our Moorish American children, none of you should be swimming out to sea, being discovered by whatever corporate ship comes in docks. Islam? So again, the lien for Heather Francis Hayes, because I've given specific directives, I've filed the notice of removal and the notice of acceptance of this case, and it's been dispunged because of lack of jurisdiction, lack of injured party, lack of authority, lack of status. It has been dismissed. It has been ripped up as if it never existed. That has been put on file at the county courthouse corporation, which only thing that place is supposed to be doing is lawful practices, and right now it's doing a lot of unlawful things. That was recorded. We have other process that I do want to highlight, but I want to make sure, Moors, if you want to support your nation, this is your nation. We are the people. Come and stand in solidarity. Come with those red fezzes on. Come with those red turbans on. Come in your nobility and show these hypothecators, these actors, these individuals with no power, no authority, no resources, no wealth. You got to get in the back of the line where you belong, because the Moors are back, never left, and are commanding as the sovereigns of the land. You stand down. So don't look at the things that are happening as something that stop you from being yourself. Stop you from being yourself. Be yourself, Moors. You have no choice but to be yourself. This is your year. Claim your estate. Don't be in fear of anything, because remember what fear is. False information appearing to be real. And if I was a hypothecator, if I had no descendability, if I only could establish and exist as a corporate fiction, therefore having to denationalize and corporatize the whole entire planet so I could get a footing, I would put all of this on the social platforms. I would not let you sleep unless you became a ward of the state. I actually took an Uber the other day. I talked to an individual who was domiciling at the Kingdom of Morocco. Y'all can sit here and get on my platforms, you Albions, you foreigners, all y'all want, but y'all going to get in line. I command you to get in line and do as we the Moors command you, because you have to do it. You have no choice. As the sovereigns, you have no choice. We wrote you in, we can write you right out. We wrote you in, we can write you right out. I command you do what we say. As long as it's on love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it doesn't violate any laws that we establish. We can write a law in, we can write a law out. We can write a law in, we can write a law out. We can write a law in, we can write a law out. Don't get written out because you want to be arrogant. Don't get written out because you want to war with us. We peaceful. We allowed you to stay here. We gave you a voice. We gave you a standing. We gave you that. Our ancestors did that. Your ancestors destroyed it. It's up to you to fix it. Just like it's up to us to fix this. And we fixed it already. It's already done. Walk in your nobility, Moors. Walk in your nobility. You should not have no fear. We come from royalty. We come from intergalactic. We come from such beautiful and powerful things. How dare you fear anything? How dare you have fear? How dare you be heartless? How dare you be scared? Because it's the inner spirit that's talking to you, telling you, stop acting like that. We don't come from that. Come from royalty. Come from royalty. Don't let nobody take that away from you, because they don't come from what you come from. And the only reasons why they do that is because they don't come from what you come from. They don't come from what you come from. You don't have to make any apologies for that. We've given enough. We've done enough. We've supported you in everything. Got to give back. Please, Moors, be there. I command you, the Moors, to be there. I command you to stand the heck up for our babies. I command you to stand up, mothers, and stop acting like a victim. You are not a victim. You are the informant. You are the individual destroying your children. You are doing that. I am not going to let you act like you are a victim in all of this. You're doing it. You're bringing these babies in here not knowing who they are. You're doing that. They have descendability. They have a culture. They have a voice. They have a whole lot. And you're denying them that. Why they're running around here begging everybody else when they are the wealthiest people in the land. We shouldn't be shooting each other up for no freaking crack, for no freaking monopoly money. It ain't even money. Monopoly paper. We shouldn't be doing that to one another. I command you, sons that are out there gang warring with other sons, get your butt together. Stand up in solidarity and support your mothers. Your mothers brought you here. They can take you right out with a word. When they find that out, you'll be really sorry. So stop gang warring with one another for some corner, for some so-called illusional pride, for some so-called illusional respect you don't have. Get in alignment. I don't want to hear people dying, getting shot. I don't want to hear an Asiatic son shooting another Asiatic son for what? That's dishonor. Or sister. Get in line. We have culture. We have a nationality. You're genociding your people because you're ignorant. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. That has all been propagated through colonialism, so they ain't got to do the work for you. They don't even got to do the work for y'all no more. For real. All they got to do is go not pay, award to go out there and shoot your brothers and sisters. And y'all doing it. And y'all doing it. And y'all doing it. Stop doing that. I don't want to hear about people getting shot in their head by their brothers and they brothers. I don't want to hear that. And yes, you individuals from the continent of Africa over there, you are brothers and sisters too. So you owe. We are the same. Our dialects and our tongues, our differences in those don't give you a justification to sit here and and not do right by your family, by your tribe. You're being tested, Moors. You're in sin. Whether you're declared or undeclared, you are a Moor, and I will never denationalize you because of your ignorance and your incompetence. I will never do that. You're Asiatics. You're Aboriginals. You're Indigenous. You're Natives. Nobody else is that. Nobody else is that. And you don't got to feel sorry for people who are not that. They just are who they are. Don't feel sorry for people. People got to get in alignment. You just have to, Moors. You just have to. We got a lot of work to do. We're supposed to be feeding the world, not destroying it, not destroying one another. We're not supposed to be doing that. I don't want to hear a mother losing her son from the streets. But mothers also realize you gave them nothing. You gave them no way of supporting themselves. All you gave them is colonialism. And guess what? That don't like your sons. Colonialism is trying to destroy everything that you are. Give your babies. Give them something. They were raised to believe that they were black people. They were raised to believe that they had no culture. They were raised to believe that they were nobody. Everything on that TV tells them that. Every freaking Asiatic show, all they talking about is what? What is it? Gayism? Drugs? Rap music? Ain't talking about nothing. Telling you in your face how much they don't like you. But how they produce crap for you to watch. Your nobility. You rule the world. But on TV shows, y'all having cat fights. That TV is a distraction. Mothers, raise your children with fundamental culture. If they don't have culture, they're a sponge. They're a sponge for the crap that TV produces. Sponges. You have a duty to tell them who they are. You have a duty to give them a way of surviving in a world. And you can no longer say that I'm scared. You have no right to say that. When you create life, you are responsible to make sure that life is able to produce by itself. So when you see animals and they create their children, when they manifest these beings, guess what they do? They teach them how to hunt. Guess what they do? They feed them in the beginning, but they teach them how to do that because eventually they got to go out on the world and figure things out on their own. That's mommy's job. But if mommy don't know who she is, how son gonna know who he is? How daughter gonna know who they are? They gotta go to a corporation and be victimized and brutalized and pumped up with medicine and denationalized, all this stuff when you're supposed to be giving them a ground foundation as to how to exist in a society. It is your responsibility. It's not even daddy's responsibility because governments are run by the women. If you look at any of these so-called corporate county buildings, who's in them? Who's in them running them? Ain't the sons. They out there securing what the heck they establish within those buildings. And they all Albion women. They don't belong in those buildings. You belong in those buildings. Your sons belong. I came on here to tell y'all about tomorrow. I came on here to tell y'all about some other stuff too. You have the freedom right in front of you. It's literally right in front of you. It looks and stares at you in the mirror every single day. It is you. You have to give a damn about yourself. You can't care about nobody else if you don't give a damn about yourself. And if you don't give a damn about yourself, all right, I take that. Damn, that's messed up. That's really messed up. Because you your number one ride or die. You your number one ride or die. You are. So I command you all look in the mirror and say, I love you. I love you so much. I'm going to do what the frick I got to do to fix this. because our ancestors didn't fix it. Our elders didn't fix it, but they gave us the road map. We at least have the road map, Moors. And a part of that road map is I, self-law-am master. The only way you become master of yourself is to know who you are. To know law, to sharpen your scimitar, which is the knowledge of law. I'm going to reroute because I'm getting a little emotional, and I don't do that. I don't do that, y'all. I don't do that. I don't do it. At least not on public platforms, I don't. I've sent a quo warranto to all the administrators claiming to be judges of this Court of Common Pleas of Delaware County Courthouse in Media, which I gave the address for earlier. I'm going to show you it. I don't know if you can see it correctly. I did this in 2017, y'all. I did it September 6, 2017, and I did it July 6, 2017. So I did it 6/6 and 9/6. Interesting dates. I sent it to the President Administrator, acting as the President Judge, Kevin F. Kelly, Delaware County, Pennsylvania, Court of Common Pleas, 201 West Front Street, near Media of Pennsylvania Corporation 1908063. I sent them quo warranto. Sent it twice. And I don't even play games, y'all, because I sent it to every last individual listed here. I'll read their corporate names. Margaret J. Amoroso, Spiros E. Angelis, James P. Bradley. I'm going to post it. I'm going to upload it on Facebook. Mary Alice Brennan, Richard M. Carapelli, John P. Capozzu, Linda A. Cartisani, Barry C. Dozer, Catherine W. Dunham, Christian Fasano Cannon, G. Michael Green, Kevin F. Kelly, Chad F. Kenny, William C. Mackrids, Gregory M. Mallon, Nathaniel C. Nichols, James F. Nillen, George A. Pagliano, Dominic F. Pelleggi, and Anthony D. Scanlon. And I also did it for Ann Baradoco and Harry Karapelides, which are so-called district court administrators, which are fraudulently acting as magistrates. It's all corporate. It's all corporate. They have no jurisdiction. They have no status. They have no standing. The only individuals that would have given them any of this would be the sovereigns, would be you and me. And they would have validation if they had that. Hagens versus Levin, 415 U.S. 533. There is no discretion to ignore lack of jurisdiction. Joyce versus U.S. 474, 2nd edition, 215. The law provides that once state and federal government jurisdiction has been challenged, it must be proven. Maine versus Tharot. I can't pronounce that. Jurisdiction can be challenged at any time. That's during, before, after. And jurisdiction, once challenged, cannot be assumed and must be decided. That's case law. That's a part of the quo warranto averment of jurisdiction that I sent in 2017 and in July, as well as in September. Certified. Sent to all 20. Listed them all here. Notice the agent is notice the principal. Okay? That was a while ago. I liened them too. Their lien document number, do I have it? Like I said, it's in the file section of the Facebook group. The lien document number is in the file section of the Facebook group. I liened the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I liened the County of Delaware. You got to do law. If you're not going to do what you're supposed to do lawfully, you have to lien corporations to get back in honor. You have to do it. You have to do it. So they're all leaned. And if there's some new administrators over there acting as judges of that corporate district, I'm going to go and I'm going to increase that. If you want to stay at Morocco, you have to honor the supreme laws. You have to get actual paperwork from the government giving you validation here, giving you a standing here, giving you security here. And you'll give back everything you've taken. You're squatting. No Moor can squat on their own land. Moors, we have that repossession process that's out now. I posted the first step of that repossession process in the file section of the group. I'll email it to whoever sends me an email. Don't do the platform. I ain't got time for that, y'all. Even though you just did the platform. But it's going to be in the file section of the group. What's that? It's going to be in the file section of the group. The directions on how to claim your reclaim or revenue your Moorish estate. It's about notification. And we talked yesterday about acquiescence. And we talked yesterday about an affidavit unrebutted stand as truth. An affidavit unrebutted stands as truth. And because you're the sovereigns, can't nobody refute your claims here who ain't sovereign. So you claim your allodial estate. You restyle what it is. My domicile is 1111 Yeshurun Moabite Estate. I've recorded it at the Recorders of Deeds. You can actually go look it up. But it's in the file section also in the group. You don't even got to go to that platform. But that platform, it's there. It's out. Why you can't get in the group? Ron, are you a Moor? If you're a Moor, you can get in the group because it's only for Moorish American nationals. If you're a Moor, you can get in the group. Just request to be added to the group. And if you're not in a group, did you get kicked out because you were spreading negative energy? Because we will kick people out who spread negative energy. That is for a positive place for Moors to learn and get their grids done. It ain't for the propaganda. It ain't for any of that other stuff. It's for Moors that want to be free, that are commanding to be free, and are doing the alignment necessary to be that. All right? So I said a lot. I would have said more, but, you know, I got work to do. I don't want to say too much. But again, default. Well, if you don't challenge jurisdiction, they're holding you under nom de guerre, y'all. They're holding you under nom de guerre because you're answering to those nom de guerre. Don't answer to those nom de guerre. Don't answer to those nom de guerre. State your Moorish nationality and never get off of in personam jurisdiction. They have no jurisdiction. You can only give them jurisdiction by not knowing that you're giving it to them or not knowing who you are. I am Sharon Tracey Gale Bey, Moorish American national, in propria persona, sui juris, proprio solo, proprio heredis, at all times and at all points in time. I am a descendant of the great pharaohs of Kemet and the Moabites and the Canaanites. I am the law. I am the government, so too is you, every sovereign Moorish American national here. And I command you state your name and nationality for the record on the record without any further comment. You do not have jurisdiction over me, and I command you set me free, return my property, and cease and desist all actions. As this is my notice of intent to lien you, if you do not do as commanded, and set me free. Notice to agent is notice to principal. Notice to principal is notice to agent. Get that in your mental. Oh, okay. So yeah, just add yourself to the group, and I'll add you. So I don't know why you're not there or why you can't get in, but I'll add you to the group. Islam. So please stand in solidarity with me tomorrow, 8 a.m. sharp. But you know, more we need to get there at 7:30. Get there at 7:30. Everybody get there at 7:30. I'll be there at 7:30. Outside, just sitting there waiting to welcome the Moors. You have to stand in solidarity and unity. We have to stand in solidarity and unity. We have to put the guns down and stop fighting each other for some crumbs on the street when you have a whole freaking Moorish estate you need to be claiming. You have everything to save you. You have everything. Be there tomorrow, 7:30, 201 Front, West Front Street, Media, Pennsylvania. This is a corporate address, 19063. And that building will be the Moorish American Consulate. And they will do the honorable thing, and we're going to get all those Albions out of those buildings and put our Asiatics in there and begin rebuilding our vast estate and our culture and re-educating and giving knowledge to our children so they can be what they need to be. It's going to be it's in the file section. Just go over to Moorish American Consulate in EMXM, Moorish American Consulate in EMXM group, and go add yourself to the group, and you'll have access to all of the information. Yes, the default notice. Of course, everything was done. The default notice, I don't believe it's in the 3 individual documents. Your affidavit of quo warranto, averment of jurisdiction, should include your default. It should include your allodial schedule in that one document. You got 3 days. If you want to give them 3 days, immediately when you receive this document, do as commanded. So I sent those documents. And your default judgment is already there. And your allodial free schedule is already there. But if you need to see it, I'll reduplicate it. Because as a sovereign, if they steal your stuff or hypothecate your things, because you're sovereign, you can duplicate it. Reduplicate it over and over again. Because you're sovereigns and can't nobody else reduplicate what you have. Nobody else can do it. They don't got no seals. You are the nationals. Act like it. Reduplicate. If they take your trust, reduplicate the trust. They take your declaration, reduplicate the declaration. They take your nationality identification card, reduplicate your nationality identification card. They take your whatever they take. That's why you put it on a public forum too. You put them on a public platform. You put them on the public platform, and you send them to at least 3 people. PDF. Send it to 3 people. And once you send an email, it doesn't get deleted until you delete it. So you probably been sending stuff, and it's sitting in your save bin. So go check your save bin. Islam. So be there tomorrow. I expect y'all to show up. I command y'all to show up. Do you, boo boo? Anyway, I gotta get off this platform because I have much work to do. I posted a link in on Facebook earlier today. Check that link out. It's pretty interesting. It's pretty powerful. It talks about the trickeries that they say in these tribunals. But guess what? Other people have to use different trickeries or different language. Guess what you have? You have sovereignty on your side. You have status on your side. You don't have to play their games. You don't have to sit here and say specific language. You don't have to do that. And don't give them access to your estate unless they come direct for it and compensate you for whatever it is they want. See, they've been used to just going through and you've been giving them administrative functions over you, and then all of a sudden they put you in the POW camp and you've been there forever. And they done forgot about you while they sit here living off of your estate. You in there feeding them while you inside getting garbage for meals. Do you think that's right? You think that they put you in these facilities because they want continual finances on you, and they create all these different corporate wars? Stand on your square, Moors. Know what jurisdiction. There's 7 elements of jurisdiction. I'm gonna read that. 7 elements of jurisdiction. Let me see if I can find it. I'm gonna read that one. We need to know that 7 elements of jurisdiction, but we also need to know we also need to not be having fear when we go into these tribunals and are interfacing with these hypothecators. And be yourself. There's a document. I'm going to read this one because it's very important. 7 elements of jurisdiction. Seven elements of jurisdiction. I'm going to read the whole document because I just want to. In order for any government agency, subsidiary, or law to be applied to an individual American citizen, it must be first proved or assumed that the government has jurisdiction in this matter over that particular individual for that time. Specifically, before an individual can be charged or convicted with a crime, the government official or agency must prove jurisdiction. You say it's a government official, that's us, or agency, that's them acting in an agency or corporate capacity, have to prove they got jurisdiction over you. This is seldom accomplished, and many individuals lose a case and even go to jail when no one has proven this legally, lawfully essential issue. Nowhere is there more common than in Internal Revenue Service cases against so-called tax protesters. The IRS almost never attempts to prove jurisdiction, and you never ask. In fact, jurisdiction is almost never addressed, as well as in the tribunals. If the individual is correct in his or her claims that he or she is not a taxpayer, as defined in the Internal Revenue Code, then the IRS has no jurisdiction. With no jurisdiction comes no case and no conviction. But to win jurisdiction must be challenged by the individual, and if challenged successfully, the case must be dismissed. There are 7 elements of jurisdiction, all of which must prove by the prosecution if challenged. If not challenged, it will always be assumed by the court that competent jurisdiction is proved and accepted by all parties. If any element of 7 is not proven, the case must be dismissed. And there was a, I'm going to get to that in a second. And you can blow them out of the water with prejudice. I'm going to go find that so I can give that to you. Am I in the back of the book? Where am I at? You know, I be having to find stuff. And I got to download it because I had to find it anyway. Here it is. 28 U.S. Code 454. Practice of law by justices and judges. Any judges or justices appointed under the authority of the United States who engage in practice of law is guilty of a high misdemeanor. What do I mean when I say that? Because it was that one and it was one other one. I think it was 464. It was 2. What do I mean by that? There's a hiccup to be under the so-called PA codes. This is Pennsylvania codes and the Pennsylvania so-called Constitution under the judiciary sections. In order for them to even be a judiciary, guess what they got to be? They got to be an attorney. They have to have a bar card. And if they have a bar card and the so-called prosecution has a bar card, they have to recuse themselves from the case. And if everybody that is administrator of that facility, of that infrastructure, a part of the bar member, then none of them can adjudicate. Absolutely none. And that's one way. That's one way. They can't adjudicate. That's prejudice. Y'all belong to the same club. You belong to the same club this person belongs to. And because y'all both belong to the same club based on USC Code 454, you have to recuse yourself from this so-called case. And if they're all, which they all are, go pull all the bar cards, y'all, and just start posting them all. Just start posting all the so-called administrators claiming to be judges, bar cards, all over social media. That's one way. Personam jurisdiction. They don't have jurisdiction over you. They don't have a contract. And someone says you got contracts. No, you don't have contracts because you can't establish a contract as a ward. A ward has no standing in law. Doesn't exist, which is why they put the so-called attorney on you, because that exists on paper. But at the same time, the attorney is giving jurisdiction. So that's why you don't get one. Because you are to present yourself and make these special appearances because they're mistakenly identifying you as a ward, which they know fraudulently they're doing, because that person is not natural, is a corporate fiction under Penhallow versus, forgot. I posted it. I posted it in a link. I think I posted it in a link. But I'm gonna have this all for you guys. So again, let's go back. If at any element of 7 is not proved, the case must be dismissed. The normal process in a case against a so-called tax protester is to ignore jurisdiction issues altogether. Of course, they're going to ignore jurisdiction issues because they still want to stay in they still want to squat in those beautiful homes that are yours. Or else to challenge jurisdiction while at the same time conforming to the procedures and requirements that assume jurisdiction. In other words, one cannot allege that the IRS has no jurisdiction over them while at the same time you're filing 1040 form each year to get those so-called refunds, which is voluntarily submitting to the jurisdiction, just so you know. So if you don't want to be subject, don't subject yourself by filing. In every in every few years, IRS cases where jurisdiction is challenged, almost always the judge will proclaim jurisdiction over the bench. From the bench, I'm sorry. It is the opinion of this court that the prosecution has jurisdiction in this case and exercises it regularly almost every time. I don't think we need to go through all that today. This is total violation of law and accepted court procedures because nobody knows that they're supposed to challenge, and once the challenge is made, they have to prove it. They have to prove it in documentation, not word of mouth, because that's hearsay. And why is it hearsay? Because as a so-called official, if they were that, because you get not appointed and not, you fill out an application. You can't fill out if you fill out an application to be a specific thing, that is not an office. You're not holding an office, because to hold an office, you have to be selected and approved and voted in. So there's no such thing as an officer if they've been if they fill out an application, if they don't have delegation of authority, and if there was no prior governmental lawful jurisdiction that granted them this, which would be the people. One of the easiest and most common means of alleging jurisdiction on the part of the prosecution is to refer to the accused as a taxpayer. So that's how they refer to you, as a taxpayer, or for any other, they call you Miss Gale, or they'll call you Miss Pitts, or they'll call you, the Miss is a Roman title. That's why you don't allow anybody to call you a Miss, even if you go to school. Hey, Miss Gale. No, that's not me. That's not me. I'm Sharon Tracey Gale Bey, Moorish American National. Don't not denationalize me. And if I have to tell you again, I'm going to lean you. And you need to say that to anybody who calls you Miss Gale or Miss or Mr. You are Moorish American nationals. They try to give you a Roman title so they have jurisdiction. So just like how they try to call you a taxpayer, you correct them. You say, no, I rebut that claim. I'm a Moorish American national. I rebut. Not I object. I rebut. It must be immediately challenged. I object. And it says, I object, Your Honor. You never give them honor. You have the honor. My honor. My honor. So even when you're reading different things, they're going to subject you because they're subjected by the whole, everybody's subjected, and they're so used to, doing this, and they're ignorant. The prosecution has just labeled me a taxpayer. Whether or not I'm a taxpayer is the very root in the cause, and it has not been proven by the prosecution. So you can't say that I am Miss Gale unless you can qualify that through an actual document, a lawful contractual document where I signed to say I would be Miss Gale. And it has to be my signature. But at the same time, if you're outside of your status in nobility, you can't contract. You're in minor. But I digress. If the defendant does not challenge that word, okay, let's go back. I respectfully request that the word taxpayer be stricken from the record. Like that. And that the prosecution be instructed not to use that word again until it is proven that I indeed am a taxpayer. I command it be restricted. That word, your word, Miss Gale, be stricken from the record because I am a Moorish American national. And you haven't proven that you have jurisdiction, and you haven't proven that I'm Miss Gale. Proof that I'm that person, that you're trying to hold me under unlawfully through identity theft. If the defendant does not challenge that word, the similar techniques used by the IRS, the judge will have legal jurisdiction, justification to assume jurisdiction. So it's the trickeries in the words. Of course, if the defense has done its job, the issue of taxpayer and jurisdiction would already be established. The time to challenge jurisdiction is at the beginning of the trial, not at the end when it looks like the individual is about to lose. You can challenge it at any means, beginning, before, at the end. Whenever you challenge jurisdiction, it has to be answered. Don't matter if they're about the so-called sentence. If they're about the so-called sentence because you was trying to like go in within like Neo and try to navigate within, and then you look like you was losing, and then all of a sudden you're like, look, I challenge jurisdiction. At any point you can challenge. If jurisdiction is not successfully challenged, it must be at the very beginning of the trial to allow the trial to continue. No, it doesn't. You can challenge jurisdiction at any point, and there's case law that says it, and I just read it earlier. You want me to read it again? I'll find it. Okay, where is it at? I had it up. Let me see if I can find anything. Okay, well, it don't want me to find it because, you know, my system has been hypothecated. And it does a lot of little freaky things. I'll find it in a second. But anyway, let's get back to jurisdiction. Y'all need these armor. Y'all need this armor. Y'all need to sharpen up your blades. So do I. So I'm reading it for me as well as for you, Mom. Below are 7 issues of jurisdiction. The accused must be properly identified. These are the 7 elements of jurisdiction. After this, I'm getting off this platform and I'm going to wrap up with, I don't know when I'm going to wrap up. I'm just, whatever. The accused must be properly identified. Identified in such a fashion there is no room for mistaken identity. The individual must be singled out from all others. Otherwise, anyone can be subject to arrest or trial without the benefit of wrongful parties' defense. Almost always, the mean of the identification is a person's proper name or title. But any means of identification is equally valid if said means differentiates the accused without doubt. By the way, there is no constitutional valid requirement that you must identify yourself to a judge or any other. For stop and identity issues, Fourth Amendment. So to identify, you identify by what you speak. That's first challenge. I'm Sharon Tracey Gale Bey. So you've already stopped them from saying, "Oh, I'm Miss Gale." When they say, "Oh, Miss Gale," no, I rebut that. I want that stricken from the record because I'm Sharon Tracey Gale Bey, Moorish American National, and I told you that already. So you strike Miss Gale from the record unless you have validation or proof that that is me. And if you don't have valid, justifiable proof that that is me, you have to strike that from the record and never to use it again. Because I have spoken who I am, Sharon Tracey Gale Bey, Moorish American National, and I've also submitted lawful documentation in the record to validate what I just said. The mistaken identity is why you show up. You show up because of the mistaken identity. You show up because they try to hypothecate who you are through those nom de guerres. You clear up the nom de guerre piece. Because they'll keep trying to snag you up under that nom de guerre. That's why you lean the straw also, so they cannot sit here and continue to mistakenly identify you, and you put it on constantly put it on the public forum as to who you are. And you never stop doing that. The status of offense must be identified by its proper or common name. A number is insufficient. Today, a citizen may stand in jeopardy of criminal sanctions for alleged violations of statutes, regulations, or even low-level bureaucratic orders. If a number were to be deemed sufficient, government would bring new and different charges at any time that they want. I'm sorry, blah, 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 blah. For any act to be triable as an offense, it must be declared to be a crime. Charges must negate any exceptions forming part of the statutory definition of an offense by affirmative non-applicability. In other words, any charge must affirmatively negate any exceptions found in the law. Example of exceptions from a case where someone has on trial for Section 7201, willful failure to file Form 1040 form. Therefore, to make a return, otherwise a return required under authority, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to go into all that subject matter. I'll post this again in the file section so you can download it and dissect it at your will. The third element, the act of alleged offense must be described in non-presidential language in detail so as to enable a person of average intelligence to understand the nature of the charge. The accuser must be named. He may be an officer. Okay, here's the good part, the fourth one, and I'm going to read that one out. The accuser must be named. He may be an officer or a third party. Some positively identifiable person, human being, must accuse. And they have to write an affidavit of fact of why they were injured and what the injury was and what so-called law it violated. Some certain person must take responsibility for making of the accusation. And in these situations, a lot of it is the so-called highwaymen, bandits, the terrorists, policy enforcers. Those are the ones sitting here claiming their injury was caused. But then when you go and get this actual so-called summons in the mail, it says the Commonwealth of whatever so-called corporate district as the so-called injured party. There's never an affidavit of fact, and there's never and they never take it on oath. as to who was injured, because a corpus delicti has to be an injured party, and that injured party has to file an affidavit of fact and sign it and seal it. Also, the injured party, corpus delicti, must make the accusation. A corporation cannot be injured. It doesn't exist. It's a figment of your imagination. It only exists on paper, therefore can never be an injured party. So how can a so-called plaintiff in any tribunal be a corpus delicti when they only existed on that piece of paper and nobody validated it? The accusation must be made under penalty of perjury. So if it's a corporation, how can they actually testify under perjury? How? Because they don't exist. If perjury cannot reach the accuser, there is no accusation. Otherwise, anyone accused can falsely be at risk. Six, to comply with the 5 elements above there, that is for the accusation to be valid, the accused must be accorded due process. Accusers must have complied with law, procedure and form in bringing the charge. That includes court-determined probable cause, summons and notice procedures. If lawful procedures may be abrogated in placing a citizen, so-called, in jeopardy, then any means may be utilized to deprive a man of his freedom. All political assertions may be stifled by utilization of defective process. So if they want to sit here and try to claim that you did something wrong, they kind of have to comply with the first 5 elements of the accusation. And it must be afforded due process. That's part of the Constitution. What's the due process? 7, the court must be one of competent jurisdiction. It's interesting that that was the first, that last one. That should have started. It should have started with that one, because then the rest of them wasn't even necessary. So 7 is actually 1, and 1 is actually 7. You know, we read to have valid process. The tribunal must be a creature of its constitution, in accordance with the laws of its creation, and Article 3 judge. That is a corporation holding you under nom de guerre with no valid anything. Nothing. Without the limiting factors of a court of competent jurisdiction, all so-called citizens would be in jeopardy of loss of liberty imposed at the bureaucrat's whim. And we know that that's what's happening. Moors, as well as Albions, are being subject to a status into a jurisdiction because, one, they didn't even know they could challenge it. They didn't even know that in order for you to be able to challenge, So right now, that was the 7 elements of jurisdiction that has to be challenged. So read this document, digest this document, and when you go, if you have to make special appearances into these tribunals because you know the effery that they do when they try to hypothecate your body under that nom de guerre. So even when you so-called get pulled over by a policy enforcer and they call you Miss Pitts or Mr. Pitts, you say, I command you strike that from the record because that's not who I am. I'm Sharon Tracey Gale Bey, Moorish American National. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, be unified at the tribunal tomorrow, either in spirit or in actual flesh. I love flesh though. The location is 201, care of mailing location, 201 West Front Street, near Media, Pennsylvania Republic. 8 a.m. Be there 7:30, so we can just get our good seats in the front and do all these things. It has not been the so-called tribunal has not been assigned to a so-called administrator. I'm going to go to the website and find out if they have any new administrators and issue a quo warranto in that facility. I'm gonna hand deliver it. And notice the agent notice the principal. And I'm also going to give Miss what was her, Heather? What was her name? I can't remember her name. The assistant district, she'll be getting her lien tomorrow as well, because of the conspiracy against me as Sharon Tracey Gale Bey, Moorish American National, because there is no mistaken as to who I am. You can't even mistaken identify me at all, as well as my consort. So they have no choice but to cease and desist and release, because they don't have jurisdiction, they don't have status, and we are outside of their jurisdiction, which they don't even have at Morocco. Because the realities are, if we can lien them, what does that mean? We're the sovereigns, they're not, and they're hypothecating our platform because they've grown accustomed through all of their warring techniques and their ancestors to continue to do so. But this is a new day, y'all. And the repossession process. I'll probably go into a little bit more detail about the repossession process, but Moors, you want to claim your property. Nobody has a higher claim than you. Create those titles, create those land titles for your property. I suggest to name it what you want to name it, and lien the so-called corporate address that was currently used to hypothecate you. I would do that. My domicile is 1111 I.S.L.A.M Moabite Moorish Estate. It is XREL 36 North Harwood. My domicile, this is for the public notice, 1111 I.S.L.A.M Moorish. I'm at I.S.L.A.M Moabite Moorish Estate, northeast of Mexham, Morocco, and it got the latitude longitudes, and it's bracketed XREL 36 North Harwood in italics in the slanted language. I can't. Anyway, and restore Islam. So Moors, go to the file section, download all that stuff, all the files, because all the supporting documentation is there. I'll put up the instructions today. So go claim your allodial estate, and realizing that when these evictions come, they're evicting the nom de guerres. So if you have to relocate because of that, relocate and then claim it allodially, and then go back because it's your estate. Islam, there's a lot of abandoned lands under so-called foreclosure. Foreclosure means abandoned, just so that y'all know. Foreclosure means abandoned. And file your writ of possessions. File your writ of possessions and send them to the so-called individual or corporation claiming to own that through their so-called county websites. Give them 3 days to reply. After 3 days, and you're not only sending it to the so-called individual claiming ownership of the land of that property, which is usually a corporation that can't even exist. Lien that corporation for claiming to own it. Lien the county for putting that fraudulent document in the system. Send out the other notifications. Notify the mayor. Notify the governor. But like I said, all the instructions is in the file section, because more should be doing this all over the world. All over the world. Claiming their estate through allodial title. Deeds is interest, and we've already expunged all deeds through commands that are also in the file section. But I'm going to leave you with, I, Sharon Tracey Gale Bey, am a Moorish American national, in proprio persona, sui juris, in proprio solo, in proprio heredis, at all times and at all points in time. I am a descendant of the great pharaohs of Kemet, and the Moabites, and the Canaanites, who sojourned here from permission from pharaohs over 50,000 years ago. So that gives you your sovereignty right there, because you came here 50,000 years ago. They only started coming on this landmass about the early or the late 1500s, I'm sorry. No, 1400s. The late 1400s, early 1500s. And it was a mad dash after the 1600s. I am the law, and I am the government as well as you are, Moors, because we are the sovereigns of the land. I command you state your name, nationality for the record, on the record, without further comment. You do not have jurisdiction over me, and I command you set me free, return my property, and cease and desist all actions, as this is my notice of intent to lien you if you do not do as commanded, and release me and set me free. As well as every other Moorish American national, to include Decorey Christopher Pitzel, who's currently being detained, and Nora, who's currently being detained. Release them. I command you as the Vizier Mohammedan judge, because all cases have been expunged, all cases have been dissolved of your corporate district, because the sovereigns are now adjudicating on the land, and we have the sovereignty to do so. And we've expunged all of your authority. All of it, the assumed, the implied, it's all the fiduciaries, the trusteeships, it's all been dissolved. Go to the file section and get those commands and adhere to them. It is going to be in the best interest of you as well as your heirs, whether you're Albion or not. Be there in solidarity tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. at the location that's in this platform. Pax et Amor, Dies in Bonum. Peace and love.